The dream began in the most familiar of ways. An abrupt entrance into a space he didn't recognize. Eli stood on the edge of a void, the blackness around him suffocating, heavy, pressing down with the weight of unseen forces. The emptiness was absolute. Then, beneath his boots, a path began to take shape, almost as if it were being pulled from the void itself. The road was charred, blackened, and cracked, glowing faintly with the green embers of an old fire that refused to die. The embers flickered, casting a faint, eerie light on the path ahead. There was no question in Eli's mind. He had to walk. Walk! The command came without explanation, and yet it felt as though he had known it all his life. There was no moment of hesitation as his feet began to move, following the path like a river flows downstream, inevitable and instinctive. As Eli walked, the world around him began to shift. The darkness gave way to a vibrant, lush jungle, teeming with life. Towering trees stretched toward the sky, their canopies draped with thick, hanging vines. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and fresh leaves. For a brief moment, the beauty of it caught Eli off guard. It was serene, peaceful, until it wasn't. Flames leapt from the ground, green and unnatural. The jungle stood no chance as the fire devoured everything in its path. Trees toppled, vines withered, and the world was reduced to nothing but smoldering ash within moments. Eli watched the destruction, his expression calm and unchanged. The flames licked at his boots, but did not burn him. He stood at the center of the storm, untouched. Without pausing, he continued forward. The jungle fell away, and the world shifted once again. An expanse of Arctic ice stretched before him, gleaming under a pale, distant sun. The cold air bit at his skin, but he felt no chill. Towering glaciers loomed in the distance, their surfaces reflecting the light in brilliant hues of blue and white. The beauty of the ice was undeniable, but Eli knew what was coming. The fire followed. Green flames erupted from the ice, tearing through the glaciers with an unstoppable force. The ice melted in seconds, the frigid water hissing and boiling under the heat of the flames. The once still landscape turned into a sea of steam and smoke. Eli walked on, unfazed, his boots carrying him through the chaos of destruction, as if it were no more than a gust of wind. The world shifted again. A pine forest now stretched out before him, the scent of fresh pine needles sharp and familiar. The trees rose tall, their trunks thick with age, the ground beneath them soft and covered in a blanket of needles. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting golden beams across the forest floor. For a moment, Eli slowed his pace, breathing in the calmness of the scene. It reminded him of the forests he had known, the early mornings spent tracking game or navigating paths long forgotten. But even the forest could not escape the fire. The flames spread faster here, leaping from tree to tree, turning the once majestic forest into a raging inferno. The air thickened with smoke, the crackling of flames filling Eli's ears. Yet, through the destruction, he began to see something else. A pattern, a purpose. This wasn't just senseless burning. This was something more. The fire was not just an end. It was rebirth. The ash it left behind was fertile, a foundation for new life. Fire cleanses, fire renews. Eli's lips curled into a faint smile as he continued forward. Even in destruction, there was purpose. As Eli walked through the ashes of the forest, a sudden chill ran down his spine. It wasn't the cold of the ice or the searing heat of the fire. It was the unmistakable sensation of being watched. From the ashes, a figure emerged. It was faint, translucent, her form flickering as though she were not fully present. Her eyes darted around, wide and filled with fear as she approached him. She seemed almost fragile, a ghost in the wake of the destruction. "You." Her voice trembled, though it carried warmth, as though she had been waiting for him. "I shouldn't be here, but I couldn't let you walk this path without saying something." Eli stopped, his eyes narrowing as he took in the spirit's presence. His hand twitched toward his absent pistols, a reflex ingrained in him through years of survival. "Who are you? What do you want?" His voice was calm, but the suspicion was clear. Eli didn't trust easily, and this place was no different. The spirit glanced over her shoulder, her form flickering faster now, as if she was afraid of something far greater than her. I can't stay long. Not here. Not in this place." Her voice softened, though the fear never left her face. "You're walking towards something that doesn't care about you. Vokar. His flame consumes everything, no matter what. You need to be careful. Returning. And that's supposed to scare me. I've walked through worse. If this is a test, I'll pass." The spirit shook her head, her fear turning to desperation. "It's not about fear. It's about truth. You have a path to walk, but Vokar won't help you. He'll watch, test, but in the end, you are alone." She stepped closer, her voice lowering to a whisper. "But I believe in you. I don't know why, but I do. Just don't lose yourself in the fire." Eli studied her, intrigued but unmoved. "And if I do?" Her form began to fade, her voice soft with regret. "Then you'll be like the others, forgotten, burned away to nothing but ash. Just another flicker of flame." She glanced over her shoulder once more, her fear mounting. "I have to go. He's coming." Without waiting for Eli's response, the spirit vanished, dissolving into the wind, like the ashes around her. Her warning lingered, heavy with a weight that Eli hadn't expected. Still, he wasn't one to be deterred by fear or warnings. He'd faced far worse in his time, and whatever lay ahead, he would confront it head-on. The path led Eli to an open space, a clearing amidst the destruction. In the center of it all was a single campfire, its flames green and low, burning without fuel, without sound. The ground around it was blackened and scarred, as if countless worlds had been burned in this very spot. From the shadows beyond the fire, a figure stepped forward, Vokar. He was tall, his form shrouded in smoke and ash. His face was featureless, save for two burning green eyes that peered out from the darkness like fire in the night. His presence was absolute, like the weight of 1,000 worlds pressing down on Eli's shoulders. "You walk the path of the flame, Eli, as countless others before you have done." Vokar's voice was deep, unyielding, and absolute. It was not cruel, nor was it kind. It simply was. A fact, like the fire that consumed all in its path. Eli stood tall, meeting Vokar's gaze without flinching, and I suppose I should be grateful for that. Vokar's flames flickered briefly, as if in acknowledgement of Eli's defiance. Gratitude is irrelevant. The flame tests all. Some rise from the ash, others become it. You walk in the footsteps of 10 generations before you, all of whom failed. You carry their ashes within you, though you know nothing of them. Continue walking, and perhaps you will rise where they fell, or you will burn as they did. Eli regarded the god for a moment before nodding. "Guess we'll see, won't we?" Without warning, the world around them flashed, and intense green flames surrounded Eli, though he felt no heat. When the fire cleared, the clearing had transformed into an ashen wasteland, silent, desolate. 3 items materialized in front of Eli on a raised dais, seemingly from the ash. Each one pulsed with a faint green light, almost as though they had been waiting for him. Eli looked at the first, a pair of worn, blackened gloves. They seemed strangely familiar, but the power within them was dormant, not yet awakened. Vokar's voice rumbled through the silence as his burning eyes fixed on Eli. These gloves are bound to the flame without sound. With them, you can walk unnoticed through the world, with your weapon always at hand. You will command summoning fire with precision and control, without a single sound to betray you. In time, as you master them, the flames will obey only your will, striking without warning, leaving nothing behind but silence. The gloves lay before Eli, their power dormant, waiting for his hand to claim them. The second was a hood, heavy and layered, crafted from the finest material. Vokar gestured toward the hood, its layered fabric heavy with hidden purpose. The hood of endless embers, my eternal flame, which feeds on the collapse of the consumed. This hood holds that flame within, a fire that does not merely destroy, but renews. When you don it, you will become an adjudicator of the flame, and your strength will grow with each that falls beneath you. It will make you more than you are, burning with the promise of rebirth. Lastly, the lantern, an ancient relic of obsidian, cold to the touch. Eli felt the weight of responsibility within it, knowing this was more than just a weapon. There was something deeper here, a ritual to be learned, a purpose to uncover. Vokar's gaze fell upon the lantern, its light flickering faintly in the dark. The relic of Ashen Resolve. This is not merely a tool for battle. It is a key to greater understanding, a path to unlocking what lies hidden in the flames. With this, you will summon the remnants of forgotten worlds, the hands of the dead, to crush your enemies. But more than that, it will teach you of the path that your ancestors failed, and through it, you may learn your true purpose. Vokar's voice rumbled once more, softer now but no less commanding. These are the tools of the flame. Their power will reveal itself in time, but only if you prove worthy. Continue walking, and perhaps you will rise, or you will burn. Choose. Eli's eyes gleamed with resolve. I've walked through fire before. I'll do it again. Without another word, he reached out to make his choice as the world swirled into green flame.